Imagine leading 7 young men with giant ambitions on the world's stadium stages. Bang Si-hyuk knows all too well that behind the glittering concert lights, there are personal dynamics that are nearly impossible to control. Which member made the founder of HYBE rack his brain the most during their tours? Let's break down the facts. Number 7. The perfectionist pressure, V. Bang Si-hyuk has openly revealed in various interviews and documentaries that managing Kim Tae-young, or V, requires a very specific approach due to his unpredictable and pure artistic nature. Behind the scenes of major BTS concerts, Taeyoung is known as the member with the strongest visual and performance instincts. Yet this is precisely what often makes him the most difficult to tame within a rigid management structure. Bang Si-hyuk noted that during the early debut days through the transition to major world tours, Taeyoung often had very specific artistic visions that sometimes clashed with intense production schedules. Facts show that V is someone who moves based on emotion and a genuine connection with the audience, rather than simply following a choreography script timed down to the second. In documented internal evaluation sessions, Bang Si-hyuk emphasized that Taeyoung needs space for self-expression. If he feels restricted by overly technical management rules, his energy on stage can shift. The biggest challenge for management staff during concerts isn't bad behavior, but rather how to keep V's spontaneity within the corridors of stage safety without extinguishing his wild creative fire. We see this in small incidents, such as when he decides to change facial expressions or improvised movements that force camera operators to work extra hard to follow him. Bang Si-hyuk himself admitted that V is very difficult to give one-way directions to because he always processes everything in a very personal and profound way. The tension between HYBE's management perfectionism and Taeyoung's free soul creates an exhausting dynamic. Yet it is also the reason why V's performances always feel the most authentic. Management had to learn not to manage V, but to accompany his emotional process to prevent burnout amidst a tour schedule that could reach dozens of cities a year. His unique way of thinking often leaves backstage staff feeling anxious about what he will do next, making him the most unpredictable variable in the highly precise BTS concert machine. However, it is precisely this difficult-to-control irregularity that often creates the most legendary moments that no agency in the world could ever engineer. If the most artistic figure alone already overwhelms management, imagine what happens when limitless dedication meets an ambition that nearly destroys the physical body in the next rank. Number 6. The boundary of dedication, Jimin. Behind his gentle smile, Park Jimin is factually recognized by Bang Si-hyuk and the management team as the member most difficult to manage regarding physical and mental boundaries during concerts. His difficulty doesn't stem from resisting rules, but from a dangerous obsession with perfection that often bypasses the safety protocols set by the agency. Bang Si-hyuk once shared how worried he was about Jimin, who has a tendency to push himself to the absolute limit, a fact clearly recorded in the Burn the Stage documentary. During world tours, Jimin was often found practicing alone in the hotel while other members rested, ignoring management's instructions to conserve energy. Management faced real logistical and medical challenges because Jimin repeatedly experienced severe muscle cramps and extreme exhaustion due to a strict diet and excessive vocal practice to achieve perfect high notes on stage. Technically, it is difficult for staff to control someone whose personal standards are much harsher than any trainer's instructions. There was a real moment where the medical team had to intervene because Jimin insisted on performing despite being on the verge of collapse, creating tension between the artist's personal ambition and the agency's responsibility to protect him. Bang Si-hyuk himself admitted he often had to have deep personal talks just to convince Jimin that one small mistake on stage would not ruin his career. Managing Jimin means managing high-level anxiety and a constant desire to prove oneself, a psychological burden that is very heavy for a company as large as HYBE to control administratively. The fact that he once nearly fainted backstage but still forced himself back into the spotlight shows how stubborn and difficult he is to control when it comes to performance. For Bang Si-hyuk, Jimin is a reminder that the greatest enemy in concert management isn't disorder, but a dedication that burns so hot it consumes itself. Yet, while Jimin continues to push his physical limits, Another member provides a different challenge through a defensive stance born from raw honesty toward the industry system. Number 5. The raw integrity. Suga. Min Yoongi is the definition of a totally different management challenge. As Bang Si-hyuk factually admitted that Suga possesses very solid principles and is often skeptical of overly polished idol industry demands. Since the beginning of BTS's formation, Suga was not the type to agree to agency instructions without strong logical arguments, especially regarding how he expresses himself during concerts. Bang Si-hyuk revealed that managing Suga during a tour meant being prepared to debate music integrity and the boundaries between business and art. In many behind-the-scenes moments, it is evident how Suga openly shows his dislike if stage directions feel too theatrical or inconsistent with his identity as a rapper. The difficulty for management staff is his very introverted yet highly vocal nature. When he feels his personal space or musical vision is compromised, he does not hesitate to reject certain choreographic commands if he feels they interfere with his audio quality. Historical facts note that Suga once had a difficult time adjusting to the rigid K-pop training system, and this critical attitude carried over to the world concert stage. Management must be extra careful in communicating schedule or stage concept changes because Suga demands transparency and clear reasons, not just orders from superiors to subordinates. Bang Si-hyuk himself respects Suga's sharp mind, but administratively, having an artist who constantly questions the system is a major challenge for company efficiency. He is the member most difficult to force into fan service that feels fake, because for him, honesty on stage is everything. His cold and pragmatic nature often makes the operational team think twice before giving instructions, ensuring there are no logical gaps that he could debate. Managing Suga is the art of negotiation between the agency's commercial vision and the idealism of a music producer who happens to stand in the spotlight. But if Suga's principled resistance is about integrity, there is one member who is difficult to manage because he is the center of gravity carrying the heaviest burden on his own shoulders. Number 4. The weight of responsibility. RM. As the group's leader, Kim Namjoon is factually the bridge between Bang Si-hyuk and the other members, but it is this position that makes him the most complex figure to manage during a concert. Bang Si-hyuk has often emphasized that the mental burden RM carries far exceeds that of other members, as he must ensure group stability amidst massive stage pressure. Facts show that managing RM is not about controlling his behavior, but about managing the psychological pressure he feels as the group's spokesperson. In the documentary Break the Silence, it is clear how often RM engages in deep self-reflection, which sometimes leaves him trapped in anxiety about the future and public expectations. Difficulty for management arises when RM begins to question his own leadership effectiveness in the middle of an exhausting tour. He is a thinker who cannot accept superficial answers. Staff often have to deal with a side of RM that is very sensitive to internal team dynamics, where he will be the first person to feel guilty if something goes wrong with the group's performance. Bang Si-hyuk admitted that communicating with RM requires an equivalent intellectual depth, as he cannot simply be ordered around without a philosophical understanding behind it. Operationally, RM is both the greatest asset and a challenge for the management team because he has full control over the group's narrative, meaning any small doubt within him can impact the morale of the entire team backstage. He often ignores his own exhaustion to resolve conflicts between members or provide input on concert set lists, which is medically and managerially very difficult to monitor. For the agency, RM is the engine that, if it gets too hot, is difficult to cool down because he feels a moral responsibility for every heartbeat of BTS on stage. Managing RM means being ready to face a maturity that is sometimes too heavy for his age, creating a paradox for management that wants to protect him but still needs him to lead. However, if RM's leadership burden is about the mind, the challenge in the next rank is about pure energy exploding beyond anyone's plan. Number 3. The unstoppable energy. J-Hope. Jung Ho-seok is factually the dance leader on the ground. Yet this is exactly what makes him the most difficult member for production staff and Bang Si-hyuk to manage in terms of disciplinary standards. Bang Si-hyuk once revealed that when J-Hope enters practice or concert prep mode, his aura becomes so intense that even professional staff feel intimidated. The difficulty isn't because he breaks rules, but because he creates his own rules that are far stricter than the company's standards. Behind-the-scenes facts show that J-Hope is the most vocal in correcting technical errors, even the smallest ones, which often causes dress rehearsals to run late, because he won't stop until every light transition and movement is perfectly synchronized. Management often struggles to ask him to rest. J-Hope has seemingly limitless stamina, and he demands the same from those around him. Bang Si-hyuk admitted that managing J-Hope means being prepared to face extreme perfectionism. If there is a technical error on stage caused by staff negligence, J-Hope is the first person who will provide sharp, no-nonsense evaluation. Administratively, the challenge for the team is ensuring J-Hope's firmness doesn't create excessive pressure for other members who might have already reached their physical limits. He is the heartbeat of BTS's performance, and controlling a heart that beats too fast for the sake of perfection is a nearly impossible task for management. J-Hope frequently ignores medical team advice to reduce his movement intensity to maintain the overall quality of the show. For Bang Si-hyuk, J-Hope is the gold standard that simultaneously becomes a burden for the management system because he leaves no room for human error. His presence ensures quality but demands immense management energy to keep up with his uncompromising pace and requirements. While J-Hope's energy dominates the stage with iron discipline, there is one figure who is difficult to manage because he is the personification of the purest and most cheerful disorder. Number 2. The chaotic carefree, Jin. Bang Si-hyuk has explicitly mentioned that Kim Seokjin is the member with the most unique self-confidence and is often the most difficult to control because he refuses to bow to the serious pressures of the industry. Unlike other members who might drown in performance anxiety, Jin has a defense mechanism consisting of humor and a relaxed attitude that often confuses management staff in the middle of tense concert situations. Facts show that Jin is the member who most daringly breaks the rigid image, usually set by the agency for the eldest idol. He does not hesitate to perform silly improvisations or interactions not in the script just to lighten the mood. Bang Si-hyuk admitted that managing Jin requires extra patience because he often responds to serious instructions with jokes that blunt management's arguments. In various world tour behind-the-scenes clips, it is evident how Jin intentionally does things outside the plan, such as wearing strange accessories or intentionally performing unsynchronized movements just to make the other members laugh, even when production staff are racing against time. The challenge for management is to ensure Jin's free nature doesn't disrupt the concert flow arranged with millions of dollars. Yet on the other hand, Bang Si-hyuk realizes that without Jin's difficult-to-control energy, the group's mentality could crumble from stress. Jin is factually the one who most often debates Bang Si-hyuk in a very polite, yet stubborn way regarding the balance between hard work and personal happiness. He is the figure most difficult to force into looking cool if he feels it isn't authentic, making him an unpredictable variable in every photo shoot or concert recording. Management often has to yield to Jin's desire to maintain his own emotional rhythm rather than following the company's rigid chain of command. His seemingly light personality is actually a fortress that is very hard for any managerial control to penetrate, making him one of the most unique challenges to HYBE's administrative stability. However, if Jin's cheerfulness is difficult to manage emotionally, the first rank is held by a figure who physically and in terms of ambition is the absolute challenge for every safety protocol ever created by man. Number 1. The limitless ace, Jungkook. As the youngest member, Jungkook is factually the greatest management challenge for Bang Si-hyuk because he is a combination of limitless ambition and physical strength that often defies the logic of safety. Bang Si-hyuk has stated on various occasions that Jungkook is the center who cannot stay still. He has an internal drive to give 200% at every second of the performance, which operationally makes him a nightmare for medical and security teams. Facts recorded in the Burn the Stage documentary show the iconic moment in Chile where Jungkook nearly collapsed from extreme exhaustion and lack of oxygen, yet he still refused management's instructions to stop or reduce his movement intensity. The main difficulty for the agency is controlling someone who knows no fear and has no off button in his personal dictionary. Jungkook will keep running, jumping, and singing at full power even when his body is sending danger signals. Bang Si-hyuk admitted he often has to intervene personally to remind Jungkook not to destroy himself for a single performance. Technically, Jungkook is hard to manage because he is the type of artist who will perform dangerous physical improvisations, such as climbing stage structures or running toward the crowd without coordination with the security team, just to give fans the best experience. Management has to prepare special emergency protocols just to keep up with his wild speed and spontaneity during world tours. He has such high personal standards that if he feels his performance was less than perfect, he will fall into an emotional pit that is difficult for ordinary staff to handle, requiring a very careful psychological approach from the executive level. Bang Si-hyuk sees Jungkook as a double-edged sword, the most stunning stage asset and the biggest management risk because of his brutal dedication to physical perfection. Managing Jungkook is no longer about directing talent, but about how to hold back a force of nature so it doesn't explode before its time, making him the member who most tests the mental endurance of the entire team behind the scenes of BTS's global success.